I'm Ryan, and today I'm joined by my client Manda, who I've been working with for quite a while now. She's gonna tell us a little about her like training and injuries and all that sort of stuff. So, Manda, could you just kind of give us a little bit of background about what sort of like injuries or issues you were dealing with like prior to reaching out to me?
Yeah, so about 2 months before reaching out to Ryan, I had had a total hip replacement. And I was coming from a almost decades long powerlifting career where I competed pretty high level, so lifting was a huge part of me. And going from that to a hip replacement, uh, I felt like I needed some further help, more than I didn't know how to do, and I'd been following Ryan for quite some time, so I just decided to reach out.
Awesome. Prior to like the hip replacement itself, like had you been dealing with like traditional kind of PT and hip stuff for a while, or what was it like kind of like leading up to the actual surgery?
Yeah, I had started experiencing pain years before then, but being a hard-headed lifter, I just thought, it's a random groin strain, adductor strain,
Hmm.
whatever, and just trained through it. And through MRIs, I had years of chronic tearing going on in there, and also my joint was displaced. But I had gotten, the shots, I had to go through physical therapy. But yeah, I'd been getting cortisone shots for years at that point. And the pain would subside for, I don't know, 2 months, and then I'd be back for another one.
Mm. Yeah. What sort of like impact or limitations did like kind of dealing with that hip pain place on your training leading up to the surgery? Like how much had it been actually affecting you?
So it wasn't bad. It was something I toughed through. It's kind of funny because when I got to surgery and met my surgeon, he was shocked that I was still walking and was like, how do you keep moving? And that was just something I thought was normal pain from lifting.
Mhm.
Towards the end, that last year, doing lunges, doing split squats, anything where I had to put pressure on just single leg movements, my hip would essentially give out and I would fall down.
Mhm.
What caused me to, finally reach out for surgery is, I had to pull out of my first powerlifting meet that I've ever pulled out of, and it was going to be a huge meet because I didn't trust myself to keep my body stable enough to not put the spotters in danger. And
Mhm.
that's realized like I was putting myself in danger. So, it was they say like you don't know when your last PR is going to be, but like I knew it and like it was time.
Yeah. How did that like experience of having to pull out of your first meet kind of go for you? Like from somebody who's been like into lifting and competing for so long, like what sort of impact did that have on you?
Like mentally, I was pretty beat up because I
Yeah.
knew that after getting a total hip replacement, I was not going to be the same lifter. It was going to be a long recovery process, and I might not ever get back to the level that I was competing at. So, you know, I I had to tell myself that I am more than just lifting, and I've had my years of really strong competitive years, and it was my time to feel better and be okay with the numbers that I had gotten and the work that I'd put in. And
Mhm.
it was a lot. Honestly, the mental taxation of the whole process was more than the physical.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What sort of like numbers had you been able to hit in your like powerlifting training career prior to this like really kind of acting up on you?
So my best squat was 457, bench was 286 in competition, and then deadlift was 490.
Hell yeah, those are awesome numbers. Um, when you were like going through the PT prior to the surgery, could you just tell me a little bit more about like what that experience was like? So like what they were having you do, what you liked, what you disliked, stuff like that.
It was so dumb, but it was required to go to the next phase of you might be able to have surgery.
Mm.
So essentially, I would hold a resistance band and do some sidewalks and like have another resistance band, but not even a resistance band, kind of like a floppy little thing, and like lean forward, now lean back, now take this tube of water and balance on one foot. And they were taking somebody that could lift hundreds of pounds and giving them this 4 pounds of resistance, being like, this will fix her. And
Mhm.
it was awful. I hated it.
how many like episodes or bouts of PT did you have to go through? Like, was it just one, or had you gone through like this multiple times?
I had gone through it a couple times because the
Yeah,
first time when I went to PT, they told me that the reason I was in pain was because my glutes were weak, which
always the goddamn glutes.
it was always the goddamn glutes. And I'm like, listen, I don't think that's the problem. But we went through the first, and she said my situation didn't sound like it was any sort of scarring or tearing of the labrum, and we had to
Mhm.
wait for my MRI, which, like I said, they came back and they're like, she has years of chronic labrum tearing. And I was like, oh, weird.
Yeah, wild.
So it wasn't a glute issue. So then I had to go back for a hip.
Hmm. Okay, all right, fair enough. So then you had been dealing with this for a long time, had gone through like multiple bouts of PT and all that. Eventually got approved for the surgery. And then for you, like what was kind of like that big deciding factor, deciding moment that after the surgery, like, all right, I know that I want to like rehab this effectively, like try something um very different compared to like what you had been doing before.
What was the question?
Yeah, so like what kind of like made you think about trying something different, like kind of this online rehab approach that we do compared to just like going back to traditional PT?
Because just being who I am and knowing what I know, I've been in the world the lifting world a long time, and I know that standing on one foot is not going to get me back to deadlifting, 400 pounds or above, or squatting anything again. Like if you want to get better at a movement, you do the movement, and
Hmm.
holding a water jug is not my idea of fun either. Like I want to lift.
Yeah, for sure. Was there anything that really made you feel like our approach, our program was like the right fit for you?
Yeah, so like I said, I had followed you for quite a while. So I was familiar with the things that you posted and movements that you do. And I recognize a lot of them as things I program like my athletes to do, or things that I'd been doing myself that I'd
Hmm.
researched. And, also since you do post those videos, like free advice, basically. So if you're
Yeah.
getting that good of stuff for free, I'm like, what do I get if I pay this guy? So that's that was kind of my mindset, because I also saw that you were a lifter, which is important to me,
Hmm.
have somebody that is in the world that knows how important it is for somebody to get back to, and it's not just a thing we do.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, unfortunately, so many lifters have been going to PT that all they do is tell them to, oh, just stop lifting. You can just lift lighter or just switch to Pilates or something like that. It's like, no, like we love lifting heavy. That's what we want to get back to doing, and that's kind of what our program should be targeted at. Um, wh when we like first spoke on that kind of like consultation call, before you actually ended up like signing up to join us, did you have any like doubts or hesitations or concerns, whether it was um, that we weren't like insurance based or not like in person, or was any of that stuff going through your mind, Amanda?
The in-person didn't bother me because I also
Mhm.
coach remote, and I've had remote coaches all through my career, so I knew that, like, that's fine. Uh if I didn't know, like if I was a newer lifter and didn't really know movements, it might have been
Mhm.
a hang, but for me, no. I did ask initially, I remember, about insurance because I'm just used to physical therapy taking
Mhm.
insurance. But the way you explained it, it made sense that you didn't take insurance. And I don't know, the cost really wasn't a hang up for me because I wanted to get back to lifting, and like
Mhm.
investing in yourself to me is important. Like, I spend a lot of money on dumber things, is what I tell myself. So, like, I might as well spend my money on a good thing.
That's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah, no, I have to justify my purchases myself all the time like that.
Mm. Fair enough. So obviously you and I have been working together for quite a bit of time now. Can you just kind of like cover what your experience has been like, some of the results you've seen, numbers you've gotten back to, stuff like that?
Yeah, so initially I went to for the hip, and
Mhm.
I had a really good recovery from hip replacement. Like we did a lot of good things there, but then, as you know, I like had a frozen shoulder immediately after that, concurrently with the hip replacement. So then I couldn't move my arm. And then, it started to unfreeze. So then I just decided to tear that rotator cuff in three different places. And then, because I picked up Strongman, and Strongman is designed to injure you. So then, I tripped over something and blew out my knee joint capsule. So it hasn't been one injury over these years.
Mm,
It's like brain's like, okay, we're ready to venture out, and then my body just wants to injure itself, so we keep working. But
yeah.
everything that I've run into, we've worked through. Like my shoulder moves again. I'm not in pain. I can squat again. I have been able to I go through a little pain now because I do have to get my other hip replaced, and that's just
Mm,
part of the game. But we've been working through the squat pattern, and the past 3 weeks I've been able to squat without pins, below parallel, mid 200s again, for reps and just painless. And that's the important part to me. I don't care about the weight anymore. I've blown out my rotator cuff again multiple times, and I am weekly now. The minimum weight I'll hit is 225.
mhm.
Um, I hit 405 again on deadlift last week, painless.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah,
we're
I mean, those are great numbers to get back to. For you, like being able to get back to the point where you can train consistently, like you can squat, bench, deadlift, even if you're not necessarily 100% focused on like 1 RM performance or like hitting maximal like PRs or anything like that. Um, how has that like changed things for you like in the gym at all? Like has it helped out with like stress, mentally, emotionally, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have fun again. When I was doing powerlifting and one rep maxing, like it was painful. And I mean, working that hard and on the level I was at, I mean, it's going to be painful, like it's normal, but
Mm,
really normal. But it's work. It's a lot of hard work. And I've switched over to Strongman, which I have really a lot of fun with because my workout is picking up that rock over there, lifting up this log, and I just think that's so silly and it's so
mm,
fun. But like overhead pressing has become one of my favorite things to do. And I honestly feel like because I've been working with you so long, we've had to take a couple months breaks of me overhead pressing because I've gone and messed something else up, but we've rehabbed through that, and I am weekly hitting new PRs. I was finally able to overhead press my body weight, which in my prime of powerlifting I could not do. So
yeah,
I am
that was a huge milestone.
more than I ever have been.
Awesome. So for you, like, what's kind of next for you in the next couple months or year of training? Like, what goals do you have for yourself at this point in time?
So I have another strongman competition next month. And then I really want to compete in one in October where this meet is more kind of for beginners, the one in July. I did it last year, but it's Iowa Games, it's at my gym, and it's just fun to be around people I know. But there's another one in October that's going to be a little more serious, like you can qualify for nationals. And
Mm,
I went and volunteered at nationals this year, and I couldn't help but think, I can do this. So I think my goal is to qualify for strongman nationals after counting myself out.
that'd be awesome. Well, you're definitely gonna have to keep me in the loop with how training after this block and after this meet goes, and let me know how that meet goes, and hopefully you can get to nationals. That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then if you were talking to another lifter who was dealing with an injury, who was like considering going this route of working with us, what would you like tell that person?
I mean, I've already told a lot of people about you. I don't know if they've reached out, but tell them all the time because people are just amazed that I've come back from so many injuries, and I'm like, it's not that I didn't have help. I give you credit for helping give me my life back. Like in a mental pit because I couldn't move right, and I just
Mm,
need that assistance. I would suggest you to anybody that is serious about feeling better and
mm,
moving, getting back to lifting, because it's not just people see those words physical therapy and they think it's going to be the bands and the water jug and the bullshit, but it's not like that. Like the physical therapy movements that I have programmed like have weights in my hand. Like
yeah.
it's not it's not run of the mill crap.
Yeah. I mean, you're serious, like strong lifter. The rehab they're doing needs to reflect that and kind of be at that level as well, not the typical three sets of 10 with the 2.5 pound pink dumbbells or anything like that.
Right. Like if I wanted to, I mean, I'd be in the wrong sport for that. Like I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's been great working with you. I know that we still have a little bit of time left in this last block together, and looking forward to seeing your continued progress and then hearing what you end up doing after we're done together.
yeah. And I mean, you know that I'm probably gonna hurt myself again. I'll be back.
I'll keep my fingers crossed that you don't need to, but if that ever does happen, I'm always happy to work with you, Amanda.
Yeah, I mean, it's been nothing but a pleasure to work with you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time out today to hop on this interview with me.
Absolutely. And if I could just add one thing at the end, I saw on your Instagram that some guy said that you paid people for their positive reviews and all this stuff, and he absolutely does not. I'm not off of this man. I
Yeah,
get
you're
no
like, where's my damn money?
dimes, but I get no dimes.
Fair enough.
All right. I appreciate you.
All right, Amanda. Always good catching up.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.